Pokemon Arceus is my favorite Pokemon game, and I'm gonna tell you why. So a little backstory. My very first Pokemon game was Leaf Green and Fire Red, and from that I went on to like Emerald, and then one of the other ones, and then I ended up playing Diamond and Pearl. Now, ever since Diamond and Pearl, I did not touch another Pokemon game, and it's not because I hate Pokemon. I was kind of just bored of the repetitiveness, and I wanted something to change, and I just wasn't happy with like all the previews that I was seeing online of all the new games that were coming out. So what happened is that I ended up picking up the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. But anyway, right as I was finishing up my playthrough of that game, Arceus dropped. I knew nothing about Arceus before it came out. I didn't watch previews, really anything at all about it. And so when I started seeing videos pop up on Twitter the day that it came out, my mind was blown. For the first time ever, I felt like I was watching a Pokemon game that I dreamed of. I felt like I was watching a Pokemon game where I felt like I could be a trainer for the first time ever. So needless to say, I drove to my nearest Best Buy and I bought the game immediately, which I just want to mention that I never, ever do that. But Pokemon Arceus it gave me this feeling that it was something different. And boy, was I correct. It was different and it was amazing. Now, the moment that I brought that game home and I started it up, the absolute whimsy and wonder of this beautiful world overcame me. Now, when you start off the game, if you guys don't know, by the way, you start off just being able to be on the ground and not be able to get many places. In fact, you start the game and you don't even realize that you can climb mountains and go all the way up in these huge areas, and that these huge areas above you have Pokemon. Like, it feels like such a big open world, and then you realize that the world is just way, way bigger, and that you're just like this small speck in the middle of everything. I've never once had a game make me feel that way. And I've played quite a few like open world games and quite a few huge open world games, but Pokemon Arceus was the only one that made me feel that way. Not only did you feel like a small speck because of the scale, but also because of the Pokemon. They looked like their size. Each Pokemon had its own like personality and size, and it really felt real. Now, that doesn't even take into account catching Pokemon. In the games, it always felt like, one step, two step, you're done, right? But with this new system, you had to aim, and then the angle that you would hit them at matters, how far away you were, whether or not the Pokemon was paying attention to you. Like, it felt like I was actually catching Pokemon for the first time in my life. It felt real. It felt good. Now, that's just like the mechanics, right? And I think they're very important, but there's so much more to this. Like, the audio design, are you kidding me? When you're battling Pokemon, you're literally just, you're there, you're battling, the music is freaking awesome. And then when you go into your freaking bag to like swap out Pokemon, it literally like gets rid of an instrument in the song. And so it doesn't feel quite as powerful or quite as scary. And that's amazing. Like, what? Just the sound design and everything that went into it just feels so purposeful. There was someone there that said, hey, when we do this, it's gonna feel like this. And it did. Now, it's not to say that other Pokemon games haven't felt that way. In fact, I can't speak on a lot of them. I heard that Black and White was really good, and I never played it. I heard that Sword and Shield was pretty okay. I never played it. I can't really say how much better it is compared to the other ones, but what I can say is that this game is a work of art. Not only is it a break from the normal, it's a whole other masterpiece. Another thing that I really liked about the music too is that the music felt comfortable, nostalgic, yet new and refreshing. It's music that we're all familiar with. Considering that the map like takes place in the Diamond and Pearl sort of area, and I had just played the game literally right before I played Arceus, all the music and the areas were pretty familiar in my head. And so to hear those same songs, but like, it just felt different and mystical. It was really, really cool. There was something about Pokemon Arceus that was so special and so amazing. And I really hope that they make more Legends series, because I can't remember the last time I sat down and played a Pokemon game and I felt my tears well up with joy because of how much I was having fun. Yippee! There were so many moments in the game that I was playing where I was tearing up because of how much fun I was having. Pokeballs are hardly 100% foolproof. Give it another go, old girl. Old girl? What the fuck? People give Pokemon Arceus a lot of shit, but in my opinion, it's one of the best Pokemon games I've ever played ever, and I don't know how they're gonna beat it, to be honest. Speaking of which, I can never give an unbiased opinion about Pokemon Scarlet Violet because of my experience with Arceus. Now, I know Pokemon Arceus and Pokemon Scarlet Violet weren't made by the same team, right? They weren't. So it was impossible. It was never going to be quite exactly what Arceus was. And I went into the game knowing that. I just want another Pokemon Arceus. I just want another Pokemon. That's all I want. That's all I want. I want another Pokemon Arceus, okay? Give it to me. Give it to me.